He has a nose for news and a face for radio. You're listening to Price's Highway, the podcast, with your host, Steve Price. Buckle up, Spring Hill Metroplex, and enjoy the ride.
Spring Hill goes whole hog. Hear about a fun festival coming this fall. Thinking about making a move this winter? Real estate consultant Keri has some great advice on what you can do right now to command top dollar for your house during those cold, rainy, and dreary months. Plus, find out ways I can make this podcast much, much better with Mr. Podcast himself, Spring Hill's very own Jim McCarthy. All right, giddy up. Let's do this thing.
You're listening to Price's Highway, presented by Price Sells Homes. Don't think twice. Call Keri Price at 615-497-3317. That's 615-497-3317. Now back to the podcast.
Welcome to Price's Highway, the podcast. It's our very first episode. This is a show where we discuss the people, places, and things in Thompson Station, Spring Hill, and beyond. Just picture a big circle around Highway 31. It's my hope to make this thing infotaining. And if you don't like it, well, there are about a billion other podcasts you can listen to. Why am I doing this, you ask? Well, it's just something I've always wanted to try. My background is in visual media. I was in the news business for 15 years and was the social and digital media producer for the city of Franklin for 6.5 years. Currently, I direct and produce a woodworking show called The Highland Woodworker at www.thehighlandwoodworker.com. You'll meet the host of the show, Charles Brock, in an upcoming episode. So anyway, I figure why not jump into the audio world and see what it's all about. It's gonna be a learning process, I know that, and I appreciate you coming along for the ride. All right, everybody, let's talk about branding for a minute, and more specifically, city branding. Now, I know the city of Spring Hill hired a fella to come in and do a bunch of analysis and data points and whatnot, probably interviews with people to figure out who we are, what we represent, and where we're going as a city. And when all that information is gathered, they come up with a slogan. And I don't know really where they are in the process, but I did find out where they're working. And I went in the back and crawled through the dumpster a little bit, and lo and behold, right here in my hands, hear that? It's the top 10 rejected Spring Hill slogans. So these are slogans they threw out. These are no good, but I've got them. Let's do it. Number 10, Nashville's coziest bedroom community. You'll sleep tight, just like those Confederate soldiers did. Number 9, T-Dot's Orange Barrel Bonanza. Number 8, don't like your neighbor? Grab a bulldozer and go to town. Number 7, hey, at least we ain't Columbia. Number 6, even squares love our frightening traffic circle thrill ride. Number 5, cars idle faster than the posted speed limit on Campbell Station Parkway. Number 4, sorry folks, the closest Whataburger is 2.5 hours south of here. Number 3, the only midget wrestling happening here is between Craig and Steve. Number 2, come for the fried chicken, stay because of the traffic. And the number 1 rejected branding slogan for Spring Hill, welcome to Spring Hill, home of Vanilla Ice's highway. And now it's time for Price's Headlines. Tanger Outlets announced they have bought the GM plant and will be moving in next year. When asked why that specific location, a spokesperson for the popular outlet mall chain said, quote, the infrastructure is already there, plus, isn't this the seedy side of town? In other news, Jermaine Jackson from the Jackson 5 fame is opening up a soul food restaurant right here next to Tito's. At the ribbon cutting, Jermaine told the Chamber and dozens of his fans how it's always important for family to stick together. Since the landline phone has become extinct, T-Dot and city leaders have announced they will be using the existing telephone lines along Main Street, aka Price's Highway, as a new way of getting around town for the environmentally conscious traveler. This new zip line will improve traffic flow by 30% and is 95% less annoying than bicyclists. And now for the real news, Chris Yao, the managing editor for the Advertiser News of Spring Hill and Thompson Station, joins us from the newsroom.
Newsroom, Chris Yao speaking.
Chris Yao, Steve Price, what's happening, my man?
Oh, as you can tell, lots of things going on here in Spring Hill news-wise. What's going on with you?
Just chilling, doing a little show or something. I don't know. What's going on
Well,
out there?
I'll tell you, we've got a lot of things going on in Spring Hill right now. Let's talk a little bit about the Whole Hog Festival, which just announced their headlining music acts. Country music stars High Valley, who have 2 consecutive gold records, are going to be headlining the October 5th festival at the Tennessee Children's Home property, so that's pretty cool. Also, they'll be joined by Herrick and Carrollton. Herrick is like a folksy Americana band, and then Carrollton is a Christian rock band, so that's going to be really cool, man.
Cool. And what's the weather going to be like? Are people going to be bacon?
That's good. Well, I think hopefully, obviously I'm no meteorologist, but hopefully we'll see some, clear skies and cooler temperatures than we're seeing right now, because goodness gracious, it is rough out there.
Yeah, tell me the date again.
It's October 5th, so
Okay.
It'll be at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then it'll cap off the night with High Valley and then some fireworks. So that's going to be really cool.
So is this a free event?
It is not. So if you're over 10 years old, you're going to pay $5 to get in, but all of the proceeds go to benefit the well. So that's going to be, positive for them. I think that's really great that we can support them that way.
Yeah, and speaking of the well, I think there's some news with the mayor doing something to help them out and some other nonprofits. What's going on there?
There is. So, as you know, the Board of Mayor and Aldermen voted in a split vote 4-4 to suspend funding to certain nonprofits in the city.
Right, and this is a Spring Hill BOMA.
Spring Hill's Board of Mayor and Aldermen, and essentially the mayor has the ability to authorize any expenditure under $10,000. So instead of going through another vote, he decided that it would just be easier for the board to honor their commitment, because they passed this through the first time through the budget on 2 separate readings, and these nonprofits were expecting the funding. So instead of taking it out from under them, he decided to give the Spring Hill Art Center $5,000, the Senior Citizens in Spring Hill $2,000, the Well received $5,000, and the Children's Home Turkey Burn received $2,750. 2 of the nonprofits which requested funds and were originally approved, the Boys and Girls Club of Murray County, as well as the Murray County Senior Citizens, were not approved due to the fact that they apparently were ineligible to receive funds from the city, because they also received United Way funds. But the mayor did go ahead and authorize the funding that was legally available for him to authorize.
All right. Well, some other things are happening with the Tennessee Children's Home, not just a Whole Hog Festival over on October 5th, but what's going on there?
Well, at the September 16th Board of Mayor and Aldermen meeting in Spring Hill, they did approve the Kedron Square project, which will allow them a developer to basically develop the Children's Home property into a mixed-use single-family home, townhomes, apartment complex, tons of commercial space. I think there's a couple hotels. There's a couple of assisted living and senior living homes. It's just going to be a very, very large project. It's probably going to take about 10 years to build out completely, but they did approve that concept, which means that the sale of the Children's Home will go through, and they will be moving over to Beechcroft. So in the next, I guess, whenever you'll start seeing some improvements being made over near the Children's Home off of Kedron Road, where they're going to be doing some sewer upgrades and that sort of thing. So lots of really good things happening right now in the city. And I was told by the Town Center Parkway folks that this development was crucial to the development of a town center. because it will essentially be right across the street from where they're going to hopefully, continue building the town center.
Great. What has the feedback been like?
It's mixed.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people are really, scared that it's going to be, take away from the historical aspect of the city. And I'm not sure that that's the case. This group does have a track record of keeping those things keeping the historical aspects. So I'm hopeful that Ferguson Hall will be kept intact and will be a place where folks can visit and learn about the history of Spring Hill while they're staying in the hotel that is located behind Ferguson Hall.
We understand there are strikers out in Spring Hill right now.
There are at the UAW Hall. It's today is the 17th, so they began the strike on Sunday, and they have been striking since. They've got picket signs, and we'll see what the United Auto Workers Union and GM can come up with. But right now, it is unfortunately taking a huge toll on not just GM workers, but also their suppliers in the Spring Hill area. So lots of folks are looking for some part-time work, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully they will come to a resolution soon, but due to that, our event on Thursday night, the HER event, has been moved to Northfield, and we'll have to take the event from the UAW Hall over to Northfield. So it is causing some craziness in the city, on top of just the strike at Spring Hill with the movement of events. The Spring Hill, the Chamber Luncheon has been moved, as well as the suppliers.
Right, and you mentioned the HER event. Tell the folks listening in what the HER event is.
Essentially, the HER event is a night where the Advertiser News honors women in Spring Hill and Thompson Station and Murray County. We have the Woman of the Year Awards, which we had awarded for the first time ever last year to Sue Jeppers and Julie Beck. And it's just a night where you can come have some heavy hors d'oeuvres from Delta Bound, which are delicious, and you can shop. We have a doctor who will speak on women's health, and then a couple of keynote speakers, as well as a musical showcase from Lindsay Huggins, a Christian artist. So it's a really fun night. Starts at 5 o'clock on Thursday, September 19th, and it will end at 9 o'clock, and it is absolutely free. Just show up, and we'll be looking for you there.
All right, Chris, thanks so much for joining us and the Advertiser News of Spring Hill Thompson Station partnering with Price's Highway, the podcast. Can you talk a little bit more about that and our partnership?
Yeah, I'm really excited to be bringing you guys the news in a exciting and informative but fun and entertaining way. Essentially, Price's Highway is going to be a helpful venue for us to get the word out and let you guys know what's going on in our community. I'm really excited and appreciate you for doing this and allowing us to be part of it.
Man, it's a blast, and I can't wait to keep on doing these. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
All right, Chris. Well, thanks for joining us, and you will be coming to Thompson Station a little later on in the show. Sit down with me for the big three.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
All right. We'll see you then in a few minutes. Pick up the Advertiser News of Spring Hill and Thompson Station every week and support their sponsors as well. Come on, it's the least you can do. It's a free publication, for Pete's sakes. All right, moving on. The fresh fall air is on its way to our area. The leaves will soon be changing colors, and pumpkin-spiced everything is already being consumed. Well, if you're thinking about making a move during the winter or early spring, put down that coffee mug right now and hear why hiring the right realtor this very second could make a big difference when it comes to making the most for your home.
Hi, happy September. I'm Keri Price, realtor with Keller Williams Realty of Spring Hill, and I specialize in selling Williamson County and the surrounding area. Recently, I've received calls from several clients letting me know they may need to move in a few months, possibly even in December or January. And they said, Keri, when do we need to start getting prepared for this? What are our next steps? What should they be? So what I've been telling them and what I'd like to let you know is that now is the perfect time to invite the realtor that you know and trust out to your house to look at your property and give you tips, tricks, and best practices for getting prepared to sell your home for top dollar this winter or in early spring. Something else that's really important that you do is let the agent that you're going to hire go ahead and do all of the marketing for your home, from video to beautiful photography, so that this winter, when you list your house, your home stands out from all the others. The sky is blue, the trees have leaves on them, everything is bright and sunny, and your house is looking its best. And I guarantee you it'll stand out in the sea of competition in that fourth or first quarter if that's when you're planning on listing. Another thing to consider is that handymen, general contractors, and people who work in the home improvement industry are not as busy typically in the fall and winter as they are in the busy spring, summer season. So between now and the end of February is a great time to have these vendors out to your house to get quotes for the work and to get that work done so that you can make top dollar for your house. So if you're thinking about selling your house and looking for a realtor, I would love the opportunity to earn your business. When you hire my team at Price Sells Homes, you'll benefit from the professional staging and decorating services we offer, which will help your home look its best on camera and look inviting and memorable to buyers when they come through for showing appointments. Your home will also be showcased beautifully with professional photos and videography, which will allow us to visually market your home at the highest level. Think of us as your one-stop marketing shop, so that your home or property will command the most amount of money and sell more quickly than that of the competition. So don't think twice. Contact me, Keri Price, today.
All right, so don't think twice. Call Keri Price at 615-497-3317. That number again is 615-497-3317. If you're in the car right now, can't write it down, have a terrible memory like me, don't worry. It's in the show notes or on the social media post. If you haven't put the price connection together yet, that's right, Keri is my wife. She will be a recurring guest on the podcast, and quite frankly, she should host the dang thing. Well, speaking of podcasts, you may already subscribe to Jim McCarthy's JMVO Weekly Primer podcast. If not, you should. Just not right now. You're listening to my podcast. Come on. Well, Jim was nice enough to drop by the Price's Highway studio in Thompson Station recently and gave me a few pointers on what it takes to make a great podcast. All right, Jim McCarthy, thanks for joining us here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, man, everybody knows who you are. You've got the
I don't know
podcast.
About that. Not like you.
Yeah, right.
Well, Steve Price is much more famous than I am. Totally.
Infamous, really.
Yeah.
But tell us about your background before we go into the podcast.
My background is a majority of my professional adult life was in radio for about 18 years. Worked for Mix 92.9 and Jack FM here locally. Before that, I was in Vegas, worked for 2 talk radio stations out there for CBS, and then started that career at the station I said I'd never work for, at the home of rock and roll, Line 85 in Danbury, Connecticut. Brookfield, Connecticut, I'm sorry. So that's pretty much where I started out.
Did you always want to do that?
Where, at that station?
Just in radio.
Yeah, I've always been kind of a ham, so I just decided, well, I'll put off making a lot of money and saving for about 20 years and just have fun and play in radio for a while. And that's what we did. And now I'm playing catch up at the ripe old age of 43 financially, which is fun.
But you're doing a big podcast. It's called the Weekly Primer.
Huge. It's huge. Podcast. It's crazy.
Well, tell us about it.
My podcast.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Enjoy a lovely beverage before you do.
Yeah, I will. Thank you for everybody who's listening that tolerated that slurp. The podcast was born out of the fact that I do a lot of podcast production and intros and outros and things, because a lot of what I do is voiceover. And JimMcCarthyVoiceovers.com is what was. Thank you. It was, doing a lot of different things for different podcasts. And after a while, I'm like, I should probably have my own podcast if I'm the guy who is trying to be the authority on the production of them, right?
Makes sense.
And I wanted to make sure it was something that was easy, efficient, and fun to do. That was one of the primary parameters, because I don't really have any time to put much more into it. I mean, I'm up to episode 49, and it's kind of getting to the point where it's getting a little taxing, because you got to come up with the notes every week and the content and the description, and here's what we talked about, and it's just a pain in the butt. But, it's fun. Quotes.
It is. And you're on the very first episode of
I appreciate
Price's
that.
Highway, the podcast.
Yeah, it's going to get the most attention. Well,
Sure.
this one's going to get a lot of attention, and the subsequent episodes are going to just eclipse this one.
So we'd like to say hi to all 3 listeners. Thank you very much. Thanks for listening in. We appreciate it. And that's all we have for tonight's show. Everybody, thank you for joining us. Okay, so what would any kind of advice you can give me or anybody starting? I mean, podcasts are a big thing now. So what kind of advice could you give us beginners?
For you, and this is something I've noticed for a long time based on your social media posts, is that you have an amazing way of coming up with questions to ask people, and you get engagement on your social media posts,
Or just to irritate.
Yeah, you know how to stir the pot, and it's probably due to a large part your journalistic background. You know how to ask the right questions. It's something, quite frankly, I'm looking at and I'm going, damn, he's good. He's asking some really good stuff. You asked something about women's last names.
Oh, yeah. Would you not marry somebody if they had a strange last name?
Right.
Or
like Spittle.
Not even a strange last name, just a last, it could be an infamous last name.
I had a guy, a program director who hired me in Vegas. His name was Gavin Spittle. And he's proud of it, man. He kind of owns it. He runs with it, man.
Do you know any Hitlers?
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah. So some advice I would give is obviously, I think, be an engaging host, which I think you have taken care of. You're already a pretty interesting guy online. It's just a matter of finding that voice for your podcast moving forward. Consistency is a big part of it, meaning that if you want to put out a podcast one a month or one every 2 weeks, the more you put something out and the more interesting it is, obviously, the better off you're going to do. Making and finding that idea of what the podcast is going to be about, identifying your audience, who is it going to be? For me, the JMVO Weekly Primer was all about, and the big moniker behind it is marinating your mind in good stuff. I believe that we're surrounded by negativity every single flippin' day. Let's talk about some of the good things out there that will help you think in the right direction, become a better person. It's somewhat motivational, but that's basically my story. When I became self-employed, I just started listening to good stuff. I got the politics out of my life, all the bad stuff, the negativity, negative people.
24-hour news is
Right.
not allowed in our house.
Mm-hmm.
It's done. We just don't watch it. We can't watch it. It's terrible.
You're not changing anybody's mind. There's nothing you can control on it. So it helped me immensely just by listening to things like sales training, marketing, self-help, that kind of stuff. And I hope I'm a better person for it. And I think in a much more positive direction. I'm a naturally negative person. So that's what
I'm not.
Right. You're not at all.
No.
So that really helped me to, especially going into entrepreneurial land, keep the money rolling in.
Sure.
Because as soon as you turn negative, it can dry up.
Absolutely. So we've got engagement, be engaging,
Consistency.
be consistent. And what else do we have?
I would think you need to listen to your stuff every single time. It may seem narcissistic, and a lot of people equate it to that, but in radio, what we did a lot was air check our stuff. So every time the mic cracked on, there was a skim tape in back that would start rolling. Back it was cassettes before it went to hard drive. And if you wanted to be a better jock, you would listen to your stuff, or you would get pulled into the PD's office for a surprise air check session. Which
now, when you say
was a
PD,
nightmare. Program director, he's your boss.
Yes.
And let's hear how you did last night. Oh God. I don't know. I didn't listen to it, And if you go back and listen to my air checks, oh my gosh, it's a nightmare. It's a train wreck. Some of the stuff. I mean, forgetting where I was in the middle of breaks and messing up words, and it was a blast.
Well, this was a blast.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you so much for being here. Before
Sure.
you go, though, tell people how they can listen
get a
to
hold
the
of it.
weekly primer.
The weekly primer, you can find it at jimmccarthyvoiceovers.com/podcast, and you'll be able to pick your poison however you want to download it and listen to it. We're coming up on episode 50 here soon. I think Hal Elrod will be 50th.
Okay.
Episode 50.
Wow,
so,
50.
Yeah.
The big 5-0.
The big 5-0.
Jim McCarthy, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Always fun chatting with Jim. His info is attached to whatever media you're listening to. Go and subscribe to his podcast right now. You'll be glad you did. All right, we're back with the big three. What's the big three, you ask? It's the big three things Chris Yao and me, your host, Steve Areno, like most in the Spring Hill Thompson Station area. So today's big three is our big three favorite restaurants. Chris, you go first.
You know, that's probably the biggest, most talked about thing, right? In Spring Hill is
absolutely
where do you eat? Where do you eat? And then of course the terrible service that you get everywhere. Every place has just terrible service. It's awful. You never, it's crazy.
Well, they don't care for me too much.
So if I'm telling somebody, hey, you've got to go eat here. This is the spot. With all due respect to the best all-around restaurant in the Advertiser News Best of Spring Hill, I'm telling them Delta Bound, and that food over there, it's authentic Cajun, that Southern Delta style is just to die for, and you will not find a better cake in this town. Period.
Oh, the strawberry cake.
Strawberry cake is the best thing you're going to find in this town. So I think my top three are, atop the list anyway, is Delta Bound. And then we'll go ahead and give the props where they're due to Grecian. Grecian, man, I'll tell you, there's two things that I get at Grecian every time. Spanakopita, which is fantastic. And if you go back to our...
that was the name of my first record, by the way. Yeah. Big hit.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the 90s. Yeah.
When if you go back on our Facebook page, I actually did what's called Behind the Apron, which was a video where we kind of show them making. And when you see me bite into it for the first time, it's the first time I ever had one. I never had it. And it was... you could just see my face go, oh, my God, this is amazing.
You're the Spring Hill Guy Fieri.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah, look at you.
It was really cool. And their grilled chicken with broccoli, dude, the grilled chicken is and I'm going to say this word, please close your ears if you don't like it, the most moist chicken I have ever had at a restaurant. So fantastic. And then last, Chicago Express, man. There is not a better burger. And with all due respect again to Grecian, the Euro at Chicago Express is second to none.
Really?
Listen, they have a Euro burger sometimes. And
what is that? Tell me.
It's just a burger with Euro meat on it on top of the beef. So you've got a beef patty, Euro meat, and just all the toppings, and it is fantastic. Fantastic.
That sounds awesome. What is their special sauce?
The fry sauce.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I have no idea what it is. I think it's mayo chup. I'm pretty sure it's just mayo chup with like maybe some seasoned salt in there or something. But it's delicious. I don't care what it is. I'm gonna dip my fries in it every single time. So
yep.
And anything else that I can possibly dip in there. You got some hush puppies? I'll put that in there too.
Absolutely. Now I guess it's my turn.
Absolutely.
And
let's see.
And everybody out there knows if there's one thing that Steve likes, it's good barbecue. And of course, CD's barbecue is on the top of my list, but Chris Davis, of course, doesn't have a brick and mortar place right now. So since he's not a restaurant, I'm going to put him to the side, but he does have the best barbecue. And I'm going to say Jack of Hearts. But what I like is it's called a man's best friend.
Uh-huh.
Have you had one of these things?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. It's like a huge... What is it, a Polish dog or a hot dog or of some sort with just nothing but meat on top of that?
It's just like a smoked sausage with like pork on it, and it's
jalapenos.
Fantastic. It's everything.
They throw in some spice. Ooh, and the killer beans.
That's what I was gonna say. Is that there's not a better side.
Yeah, don't fool yourself.
Anywhere.
Go get some killer beans.
Oh, so good.
And then I would say the next place on my list would be Acapulco's, or as the kids call it, Alcapulco's.
Alcaponcos. It's actually Mexican and Italian food. It's amazing.
It's great. I like they've got this combination plate, And I think it's called like Bandera Mexicana or something. And it just comes loaded with everything that Mexico has to offer. And it's delicious. And then, of course, the number one place that I like to go eat in Spring Hill, Thompson Station, Cracker Barrel.
You're that old guy at Cracker Barrel, aren't you?
No, I never really even get to eat there. I'm usually just standing there holding the door for people.
Right.
They've got the double door situation.
It screws you up every time.
Every time I'm holding the door for like 90 people. And everybody knows in society, sixth man comes in and relieves.
At some point, 6 is like the top of the list. Like at some point, you've got to get some relief. Man.
Not when I'm there.
Never.
It's like 19 people, 21 people. And so what I've decided to do is, start bringing those little wooden wedges and just put it under the door real quick.
That's genius.
And then just leave.
That's genius.
Why not?
I've never done that before. But see, after the first door, it's common courtesy that you hold the door for the person who held the door for you.
Not for me.
That
I'm
never
still holding
happens.
doors for people. Because the other people are coming out and I'm holding the door. So I hear they have good food, some decent fried chicken. I don't know. And I think their jelly department's a little, everybody gets the blackberry jam or jelly, whatever. Who wants that? Everybody wants grape and strawberry.
I'm going to be honest with you. It's apple butter or bust for me.
Really?
I'm apple butter or bust.
Yeah, the blackberry stuff is just, I don't know. And it's like they have like 19 blackberries and like 1 grape and 1 strawberry. So, well, that's the big 3. Hey, Chris, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, it was a pleasure. I'm looking forward to bringing you the headlines.
Awesome. We are too. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
A big thanks to Chris Yao, Keri Price, Jim McCarthy, and of course, you, the audience. Thanks for joining me this time. Join me again, won't you? Right here on Price's Highway, the podcast. So long, everybody.
You've been listening to Price's Highway, a Steve Price Totally Terrible podcast production.